Hi guys, welcome back. Maintenance means making a change to the systems. So of course, always we keep changing the systems, but what's the most important thing? Whenever we want to make change, whenever we do the maintenance to a system, what's the most important consideration we have to make? Can you guys think? Yes, here it comes what we call change management procedures. Change management procedure, the keyword is changes has to happen, but keyword is only the approved change, only the authorized change should be happen. So that's the most important thing, okay? But at the same time, as you could remember, that there are many change requests comes from the users, but when they come from the users, we should be able to prioritize them. Which one is the highest, which one is lowest. So that's very important as well, right? Okay, right now here we look at the predictable process for the change management. Please please look at about 1 minute. Just go through the steps one by one. The first one is request a change, then approve the change request. Remember we talk about those things. There's a specific forms. Whoever want to make change, whoever want to do the maintenance, they submit it, right? Then after that, do the documentation, testing, present the results of testing results to the change control board, implement and document. Okay, right, so that is the predicted process. I'm going to explain this process to you guys one by one. Now what is the most important step here? So there are predictable process, so we went through all of them. Can you think what is the most important step here? Okay, remember the most important thing is only approve changes, only authorized changes. So most important thing is approve of change request and then approval of the process. That's the most important steps, remember that. And what's second most important one? Then second most important one is documentation. Now we see two important things in the change management. The most important consideration in the change management is approval. Only approved changes should happen. The second most important one is documentation. So these both are very important steps. What most important things that we should do when it comes to change management. Now we look at different environments we may see in change management. There are altogether 4 different environments in change management. First one is called development library, development environment rather. Development environment means when we develop the system, when we come up with a new system, when we are in the system development life cycle, we put everything into a particular environment. So that environment we call it development environment. After we develop the new system, we are going to implement the new system. What does the implementation means? Implementation means moving a copy from development environment to the production environment. Yes. So what is production environment? That's the environment that we use to do the business day-to-day operation. So that is the most important environment, because if it's e-banking, the users access to the production environment of e-banking. So that's a copy that you guys use to do the daily operations, right? At the same time, there's a possibility that the production environment, if you keep only a one single copy in the production environment, and if any case that there's a corruption happens, like file has been corrupted because of virus attack, because of hardware failure, so we are going to lose the one and only copy of the production environment. So it's always good to keep one copy in the library. So we always keep a copy in the library. That's very important here. Okay, right? So copies in the library, and we might have multiple copies. We might keep multiple copies in multiple places. We might look into those issues a little bit more detail when we talk about business continuity planning and disaster recovery later in the next week of lessons. But we are not going to focus about those things now. Okay, now. So now we understand it. And there's one more environment called test environment. What is the test environment? I'm going to explain to you guys in a minute. All right. Okay, when someone wants to make a change, the next section, are we going to make a change to the production environment? So that means somebody asks us to fix a bug, somebody asks us to add new features to. So for example, adaptive maintenance, adding a new feature to our system. Are we going to manipulate our production environment? It's going to be very risky. So we don't do that. instead of what we do is, remember we have a copy in the library. We take a copy in the library and we move a copy from library to the test environment. The moving, we call it as migration. Now we have a migration from copy from library to the testing environment. Okay, now the next question that we ask is this: can the programmers themselves make the migration? That means whenever they want to make a change, they do the migration by themselves. Definitely not good idea, because if they can change by themselves, then there's a possibility that they might misuse it. They might put some codes into the program for their personal benefit. So it's extremely important. So now, then somebody has to be given approval. Okay, so the programmer is a person who's going to make the change, and then someone has to be given approval. So what do you think? Who's the best person to give the approval? The best person to give the approval is the supervisor of the programmer, right? So the next question we ask is, can the programmers get approval from another programmer? Do you think it's a good idea? I don't think so, right? So then there should be, we call it, there should be separation of duties, or in other words, we call segregation of duties. That's extremely important. When it comes to compliance and assurance, the separation of duties, especially for the approval process, if there's any approval process, we should make sure that there should be a separation of duties. Okay, right. Now let's continue. Then once we move to the testing environment, what's the next step? What we are going to do? The next steps is we make something called audit trail. Okay. Now the next question is we create audit trail. Then we have. I'm going to ask you a few questions from you guys. Okay. What is this audit trail? Why we need them? Okay. Because we already get the approval, right? We need audit trail. So that's what we are going to discuss next. Okay. Now. What kind of information? Audit trail is a place where we keep some information. So first question I'm asking is, what kind of information that we need to keep in the audit trail? The information what we usually keep in the audit trail is the name of the programmer, who's going to change, or who changed the lines of codes in your program, and the timestamp. The timestamp means date and time of the change happens. And then if any case any supervisor has given approval, who are the person who's given approval of the supervisor, okay? And then we have to have a before image and after image. That means before image means what was the information before the change, what are the information after change. That means if any case that we change some line of codes, what were the line of codes that before the change, what are the line of codes after the change. Now my question is this: why do you really need to have audit trail? Okay, remember, we have a programmer as well as we have a supervisor or given approval. Now oftentimes we have seen some situations where programmer team up together with the supervisor, okay, and they do bad things and they share things, right? So there is a legitimate worry for the management, for the government or agencies, that these two guys work together. So you can find a lot of examples in IT industry that they team up together and they do this kind of things. So this is something audit trail. Is it for the auditors, for someone need to check, for the compliance officers to look at it and see whether that there's no phishing going on. That means only approach changes happen here, right? Okay. Then who should create the audit trail now? Is it audit trails created by a supervisor? Is it a good idea? What do you think? The audit trail should be created because system generated. So whenever that the programmers get an approval, and then a system itself should automatically create this audit trail. Okay. And the next question what I'm asking is where we should keep it. Are we going to keep the audit trail in the same server where we keep the program, which we are going to change it? Is it a good idea? Probably not. So the best idea would it be we move to offsite so that the programmers doesn't have any idea where this audit trail is going to be, right? It's no idea whatsoever. And then it has to be audit trail now. Then it's system generated. and then offsite. At the same time, this file, nobody can change it. Nobody can change this file means only a read-only file. That's very important here. Okay.